I've got Bill Press is back, host of the Bill Press Show, and Maeve Reston is with us, our CNN national political reporter. And so before we look ahead, to Nashville and beyond, Maeve, just starting with you, I mean, this was a tweet or a tweet storm 2 Saturdays ago that put this entire administration in such a predicament.
I believe you used the word pickle earlier, Brooke, and I think that was the perfect word. I mean, nobody knows so far exactly what was in Trump's mind when he put that tweet out, but it obviously has put everyone in the White House in a very awkward position. And Congress now, you see both parties coming out and saying that there is no evidence to support this claim, taking this very, very seriously. And this may end up being a very hard lesson President Trump, that when you're the president, what you tweet really matters, and there better be evidence behind it to back it up, because he's going to potentially face this very awkward hearing on Monday where you have members of both parties drilling FBI officials about what's going on and intelligence officials about whether there's evidence for this. And of course, we also could have the outcome where they say, well, there's a broader investigation going on, so we can't get into details. But all of this is very awkward and potentially embarrassing for the White House if no evidence emerges.
Well, on the evidence bit, one of the questions has been, well, what led the president to tweet this, or what kind of information perhaps did he have to allege wiretapping? And so the AG, Jeff Sessions, was in Richmond today, and he was asked about this. Did he give the president any information? This is what the Attorney General said.
Did you ever have a chance to brief the president on investigations related to the campaigns, or did you ever give him any reason to believe that he was wiretapped by the previous administration?
Look, the answer is no.
In a word, Matt Schlapp, no. So he did not get any, information from his attorney general. The president is in Nashville tonight. He is talking about his, I should say not his, the Republicans' health care bill. But he's been so uncharacteristically quiet on this issue. Does he address it? Do you think he should?
No, I think the question is this, which is on the lead up to the campaign on Election Day, in the aftermath of the Trump victory, there were all these articles about how Trump and his associates were so close to Vladimir Putin and to Russia that there were investigations going on about those close ties. And the New York Times and other papers talked about even surveillance of associates of his. And so was all that reporting incorrect? I don't know. We're going to find out.
He didn't initially say surveillance, right? He said wiretapping, and then Sean Spicer later broadened it out, and he said surveillance. And you may be right. Down the road,
wiretapping is like a 1930s version of what maybe more high-tech people.
I'm just using the president's word.
That's fair.
But I mean, even Chairman Nunes says there's no evidence. Didn't his credibility take such a hit?
No, I think Devin Nunes doesn't have any additional evidence. The question is this: why did these premier media outlets talk about at length that these people were being investigated and surveilled if it wasn't true? And so, for what am I doing, Brooke?
I'm waiting
to see. Right? I'm waiting to see with the information that does get disclosed and what we do know to be true.
That's not true. Bill, go ahead.
Brooke, if I may, first of all, we've heard this nonsense about all these articles, about all this reporting on the surveillance before Donald Trump's tweet. It did not happen. Glenn Kessler, Washington Post, examined it, looked at every single article. There was zero reference, zero mention of any role that Barack Obama played in wiretapping Donald Trump. And I'm going to come back, like you, Brooke, word for word. Donald Trump accused the former president of wiretapping, called him a bad guy and a sick guy. That was his tweet. And I think it's very remarkable that now add the Attorney General to the list, that not one single Republican inside the White House or outside the White House has defended Donald Trump on this or presented any evidence. And I think it's very close to the time when President Trump is going to have to either retract that and apologize to the president or put up his evidence. Put up or shut up. It's time.
Can I just ask this basic question, which is the articles that I have read, and I would agree with you when you say Barack Obama wiretapping. I quite honestly don't even know if wiretapping is an operable word anymore. But do you think that the Obama administration?
Let's just
think
work in
Okay,
fact.
but let me try to put this into context. Do you think that the Obama administration had any role in surveilling people in Trump world? I think the answer looks to be, according to the New York Times and other media outlets, that there was something that there is smoke there, and there could be truth there.
May I respond to that, Brooke?
Yes.
Yes. There was surveillance going on. There is always surveillance going on. For example, wait a minute. There was surveillance of the Russian ambassador's phone calls.
Right.
And Michael Flynn was talking to the Russian ambassador about sanctions when he should not have been. So he got caught. So if there was surveillance, it is true. He got fired. He got fired.
He got fired. He got fired for dissembling about the conversation, not for talking about sanctions.
Okay, hang on. Let me cut through this. Maeve, I'm talking to you. Let's just, on the facts. It is possible, and listen, we're going to hear from Jim Comey, the FBI director, Monday, public hearing. We just heard from, Senator Whitehouse and Senator Graham. They want to know if there's an investigation and if there would have been a warrant and was there probable cause. All of this. But at the end of the day, is it possible that, to use Sean Spicer's words, that the president could be vindicated if they can prove that there was this overarching surveillance, if there was this investigation into, Trump campaign ties to Russia? And let me add to that, though, isn't that very different than the president, though, making this walloping, massive allegation of the president wiretapping?
Different.
Yes.
I mean, the conversation that we just were listening to here is an exact example of what the White House will have to be doing. Trump's tweet was very specific.
Yes.
And so the White House can try to walk that back. They already have a little bit. They believe he ultimately will be vindicated, but the judge will be the American people who can look at the tweet, look at whatever evidence we end up getting, and then decide whether or not to take the president seriously or literally, or, whether to just look at his tweets as an entirely different realm.
Brooke,
Can I say something here?
Go ahead, Bill, and then Matt, and then
I was just going to make one final point, which is I think that the president and the White House really made a big mistake in trying to get rid of this by saying, well, let's let Congress investigate. Well, Congress takes this seriously when you accuse a former president of, quote, unquote, wiretapping. And so they are looking into it. And now I think you're going to have the Congress of the United States, 2 intelligence committees, come up and say it did not happen, the president is wrong, and that's going to put Trump in a very embarrassing position.
Matt, let me just ask you this, because I think at the end of the day, this is about trust. This is about the American people trusting the president, taking him at his word. I realize that you're trying to say, well, maybe not. Wiretapping is this old school phrase, and it would have been surveillance. But I mean, you look at White House's past; they parse through words. Words matter. It's about trust. Can they trust President Trump?
Yeah, and it's about trust. Think about me. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. And if there is proof that the Obama administration, like the New York Times and the Washington Post and other people have written, were surveilling people in the Trump campaign, in the Trump world, I think that's a big breach of trust. They better have a damn good reason for doing it, as I think we've crossed a line in a presidential campaign that we should not have crossed.
Where's the evidence? Give it up, dude. It's not there. You know it. It's not there.
Bill, I'll make a fair wager with you. Let's both look at the evidence. And if the Obama administration did that, it was a step too far.
Are we seriously wagering on the evidence of a previous president wiretapping a current president?
The bet is, did Barack Obama do what Donald Trump said? Did Barack Obama order the wiretap of Donald Trump's phones at Trump Tower? You know as well as I did, he did not.
If I could just say again, it's a nice attempt.
Credibility.
That's right, and Barack Obama's credibility and the Obama administration credibility as well.